Let's talk about the Twitter thing that, Lydia just brought this up a second ago. We have this story from timcast.com. Twitter announces new expansion of its private information policy. The announcement has been noted for its vague language by Twitter users. So this is basically media that they deem to be private will be banned. They can now ban you. And they say in the rules explicitly that if you are not abusing someone, then they can still remove you now because they have a new rule set. This will mean independent journalists. It will mean that reporters on the ground who happen to be filming certain activists doing something will get all of that content removed. They then came out and said, well, we'll clarify. If it's a big protest or it's newsworthy, we'll consider the context. What does that mean? Andy Ngo is a great example. Andy Ngo is a journalist, and the left absolutely despises him because he reports on what Antifa and these other individuals are doing. So naturally, Twitter's probably going to say, oh, this is exposing activists, and it's really dangerous because they literally, in their rules, say activists, dissidents, women, and minorities are the most vulnerable. Now, if you, Matt, for instance, you went to Loudoun County, right? Mm-hmm. And you spoke there, they're not going to protect you. They're going to say, if a video comes out of you and you say, hey, look, this is a private video from an event, it's really bad for me as an activist, they're going to say, shut your mouth. They're going to say, oh, you don't count. You're not an activist. Andy Ngo is not a journalist. He doesn't deserve any protections.
I kind of feel like this is an expansion of their policy that they informally put in place with the Hunter Biden stuff. Because wasn't their argument that this was acquired through, untoward means or whatever, like through actual
illegal ways, illegally obtained?
Right.
I mean, they just should have saved everyone some time and just said future Project Veritas will no longer be allowed on the platform. That would have been more honest, because if you look at who this is going to affect, it's going to be investigative journalists, muckrakers.
It's literally Veritas.
Yes, it's literally. I mean, they just should have said this policy, no more Project Veritas videos on top of people sharing those videos. It's done. That's it.
It's also people are parsing this on Twitter and saying, what does this mean? What about this? What about that? Well, that's the point. The ambiguity is the point. It's supposed to be vague because then that gives them the ability to decide. So they can just kind of decide, well, yeah, we're going to get rid of Project Veritas. We're not going to let another Rittenhouse situation happen ever again. They're saying where these videos come out to expose the truth. But then, of course, because the other thing is, well, what about all these cop videos? I mean, the George Floyd video, Derek Chauvin did not consent to having that video out there. But we can assume that all the cop videos are going to still be allowed, but they'll just be able to decide in the moment, and that's exactly what they're setting themselves up for.
It's the increasing movement towards homogenizing our culture once again. So it used to be we had a few media channels. Everybody listened to Walter Cronkite, just believed whatever he said, whether it was true or not. Everyone assumed it was true. And then with the birth of the internet, we had all of these different voices rising up. Boy, did they get mad when Alex Jones was getting hundreds of millions of views. We never approved this guy, so saith the establishment. So they get rid of him. They get rid of Milo. They get rid of Laura Loomer. They get rid of all these undesirables. Now, they got to contend with the fact that there's still dissident voices that are doing pretty well because people want and crave freedom and honesty and information. Oh, so they'll want to get rid of us. They don't like that, we have a show where we challenge the establishment. So what we're going to see with this, with Twitter's, policy is Project Veritas got to go. Andy Ngo's reporting got to go. If we do, we did a story on Fauci's, the NIAID funding monkey maximum pain experiments. Yeah. Oh, no, you can't publish those photos or that information about Fauci. It's private information. They will just decide. They've already done it with the Hunter Biden laptop story. They don't care about hacked information. Tons of hacked information has come up. They don't block it. Now they're just formalizing the rule and letting you know. The end result of this is over the next several years, eventually everyone will just be watching CNN.